When you search the temperature on Mars, you get a minus 60 Celsius. But this may be inaccurate. For one, when you try to calculate it, you get an answer around minus 52 Celsius, which is significantly different. But you also have to take into account how they actually measure the temperature on Mars. They do it in the shade, which is a problem because on Earth, the temperature in the shade and the temperature in the sun are mostly the same, apart from dark objects. But on Mars, since the atmosphere is a lot thinner, there can be quite a big difference. Which is why, in order to actually get an accurate reading of the temperature, you need to use an object that is parallel to the ground and has the same albedo or reflectivity as the ground below it. Right here you can see what I think is a more accurate temperature map of Mars during the Northern Hemisphere winter. As you can see, in a lot of the regions, the temperatures can be less than, say, minus 70, minus 80 Celsius in some of the polar regions. But in the extreme regions, it can be less than minus 110 Celsius, which is insane. But on the summer solstice, you can see the opposite pattern. The places that were previously minus 70, minus 80 Celsius are now 20 Celsius, and in the day can reach 35 Celsius. This is actually because Mars has a thin atmosphere, and therefore there isn't a lot of atmosphere to keep the temperature stable. Because of this instability, the average minimum temperature isn't always the best representation of the temperature you will actually experience, because due to unstable temperatures and atmospheric patterns, it can sometimes reach as low as minus 80 Celsius even at the equator. And as for the record maximum temperature, at the equator, given the amount of solar radiation Mars receives, it can get as high as 40 Celsius, which is kind of crazy. You don't expect Mars to get that warm. You may ask, if Mars is this cold, why don't you see more ice? The answer is simple. Most of the water is trapped deep underground, and the small fraction that exists above ground is mostly water vapor, because water only freezes into ice at minus 60 Celsius, but it doesn't really freeze because it goes directly from a gas to a solid, which is called deposition.